Reddit users, please share your personal triumph stories.
I grew up poor and struggled with homelessness throughout my teen years. At 19, I moved out and slept in my car for a few months, and after that, I slept at the library and at the airport. I worked part-time and barely made enough to survive. But I never gave up hope, and eventually, I was able to get into college and graduate. After graduation, I worked for a company for several years and then started my own business. It's been a long journey, but I am proud of where I am now. It's important to never give up hope, no matter how tough the situation may be.
I was overweight for most of my life and tried every diet under the sun. But nothing seemed to work until I decided to make a lifestyle change. I started by cutting out junk food and gradually added exercise into my routine. It wasn't easy, but after a few months, I started to see progress. Over the next year, I lost over 100 pounds and regained my confidence. I'm now at a healthy weight and feel better than ever before. It's amazing how much your body and mind can change when you make a commitment to take care of yourself.
I struggled with addiction for years and it destroyed my relationships with my family and friends. But after hitting rock bottom, I decided to get help. I checked myself into rehab and worked hard to overcome my addiction. It was a long road, but with the support of my loved ones and the help of professionals, I was able to get sober and rebuild my relationships. It's been a few years now, and I'm proud to say that I'm still sober and have a much better relationship with my family and friends.
After years of being in a toxic marriage, I finally got a divorce. It was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, but I knew it was the right thing for me. I had to start over completely new apartment, new job, new friends. It was tough, but I also had the opportunity to rediscover myself and my passions. It was scary, but ultimately liberating. I'm grateful to have had the strength to leave a toxic relationship and start a new life.
I was in a car accident a few years ago that left me with a traumatic brain injury. It was a long road to recovery. I had to relearn how to walk, talk, and perform basic tasks. But with the support of my family and the help of medical professionals, I made progress. It was a frustrating and overwhelming experience, but I tried to focus on the small victories along the way. Today, I'm mostly recovered and grateful for the second chance at life. It's important to keep pushing forward, even when things seem impossible.
I was stuck in a toxic work environment for years. My boss was verbally abusive and the workload was overwhelming. But after one particularly bad day, I decided enough was enough. I started applying to other jobs and was able to find a new position that was a much better fit for me. It wasn't an easy decision to leave, especially since I had built relationships with some of my coworkers. But it was the best decision for my mental health and well-being. Looking back, I wish I had left sooner. But I'm grateful for the experience. It taught me to stand up for myself and prioritize my own needs.
I struggled with anxiety and depression for years. It felt like a constant battle just to get through the day. But I refused to let it define me. I started seeing a therapist and taking medication, and slowly but surely, I started to feel better. It wasn't an overnight fix, but over time, I was able to manage my symptoms and take back control of my life. Now, I'm in a much better place mentally and emotionally. It's a reminder that it's okay to ask for help and that there is hope even in the darkest of times.
I lived through a natural disaster a few years ago that destroyed my home and everything I owned. It was devastating, but I knew I had to keep going. I relied on the support of family and friends and worked tirelessly to rebuild my life. It was a long and difficult process, but eventually, I was able to find a new place to live and start fresh. It taught me to appreciate the little things in life and to never take anything for granted.
I was diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, and it was a terrifying experience. I had to undergo surgery and chemotherapy, which left me feeling weak and drained. But I refused to let cancer win. I fought hard and eventually I beat it. It was a wake-up call to appreciate every day and not take anything for granted. I've since made a point to live life to the fullest and enjoy every moment. Life is precious and it's important to cherish it.
I was raised in a cult and it was a controlling and abusive environment. I didn't know anything different and thought it was normal. But after years of being in the cult, I started to question things. I eventually made the decision to leave, even though it meant leaving behind everything I knew. It was a scary and lonely experience, but I eventually found a new community and support system. It was a difficult journey, but I'm grateful to be out of that environment and free to live my life on my own terms.
I went through a bankruptcy a few years ago and it felt like the end of the world. But I refused to let it define me. I started working harder than ever before and eventually, I was able to turn my financial situation around. It was a difficult and humbling experience, but it taught me the importance of perseverance and determination.
I went through a divorce a few years ago and it felt like my world was falling apart. But I refused to give up on love. I took some time to heal and eventually, I started dating again. It wasn't easy, but I eventually met someone who was kind, caring, and supportive. We're now happily married, and it's a reminder that it's never too late to find love again.
I was bullied at work for years, and it took a toll on my mental health. But I refused to let the bullies win. I started documenting the bullying and reported it to HR. It wasn't an easy process, but eventually, the bullies were held accountable for their actions. It was a reminder that it's important to stand up for yourself and to not let others bring you down.
I have a learning disability that made school a constant struggle. But I refused to let my disability hold me back. I worked closely with my teachers and tutors, and eventually, I was able to improve my grades and graduate from high school. It was a reminder that with hard work and determination, anything is possible.
I was in a near-fatal accident a few years ago and it was a life-changing experience. But I refused to let the accident define me. I worked hard to recover and eventually, I was able to regain my strength and mobility. It was a reminder to never take life for granted and to appreciate every moment we have.
I used to struggle with social anxiety and it made it difficult for me to make friends or even leave my house. But I refused to let my anxiety control me. I started attending therapy and practicing exposure therapy, and slowly but surely, I was able to overcome my social anxiety. It was a difficult journey, but it taught me the importance of seeking help and facing your fears.
I was homeless for a period of time, and it felt like there was no way out. But I refused to give up on myself. I started working odd jobs and saving up money, and eventually, I was able to get back on my feet. It was a difficult experience, but it taught me the importance of perseverance and never giving up on yourself. Please share your triumph stories below. Maybe someday I will create another list from your stories, and thank you for watching.